You should have a hand sign.
Well, let's make one right now.
Cultura, I can't even say it right.
Ese pocho ni lo puede decir bien.
Hello, my beautiful people. I'm Sue Evelyn Gill, and today we have an amazing guest. He has filled up the Madison Square Garden, Staples Center. He's one of the most watched comedians on YouTube. You've probably seen him in films or heard his voice in animated films as well. He is a car collector and a car lover like you and I. And on top of that, he's such a badass that he's just not made one name famous, but two. He is Gabriel Iglesias, also known as Fluffy.
First of all, thank you for that incredible introduction, man.
That's
I gotta take you everywhere. Nobody gives that amount of credit.
Did I miss something?
No, I love how you said I've been filling gardens a long time, not just Madison Square. The garden across the street.
Todos los jardines.
Todos los jardines. By the way, we got a little introduction here. This is my buddy. This is Vinny.
So how did this collection start? Why Volkswagen?
Well, the collection started because I don't have a drug problem, so I needed to spend the money somewhere.
Okay.
All of this was done in 3 years. I started off with one car that was a 1979 Trans Am that I bought for my girlfriend at the time. And I said, you know what? I got her first car back. I wanted my first car back.
Which was?
My first car was a 1968 Volkswagen Bus, which is, it should have looked like that one right there.
How amazing is it that at some point in your career, you started off with this car, not by choice, right?
Yeah, if I could have had my way, I would have had like a Porsche or something. But
At that point, you got what you got.
My brother helped me to get my first car.
How much was it at that time?
Probably $500, and it didn't even run yet.
How many miles did it have?
Probably 1,000. With odometer, flipped over a bunch of times. So the car had like different shades. People tried different projects on it, and it was one of those where I was happy because it was my first car, and it got me from point A to point B.
Right.
Sometimes, because it still is what it is.
Now, at this point in your career, you have the car by choice because now you decided to get it back and you're driving it around in your neighborhood. I mean, that must be somewhat really rewarding, right?
Yeah, but the difference is that now it's the way that I've always envisioned it to be. This was the dream car right here for me. I wanted it to look just like this.
You guys see it?
Está bonito ahora, mira.
Está bien bonito.
Está bien bonito.
Now, there's a thing with Volkswagens and windows, right?
Yeah, and I'll show you that in a second. This is it's called a bay window because it is a full-size windshield.
Okay.
And the other Volkswagens are split windows, and they have multiple windows. This is a 1967, and this is a 1968.
Okay.
You see how much they changed in the course of 1 year.
Right.
So this is the last year that they made it like this, where it was the split, and then it had the multiple windows on it.
How much do these cars go for? Because you said you got your first car for about $500.
About $400-500, yeah.
Okay, and this one now?
It's probably worth about 25.
My father had one of these cars, and my mom, at some point it wasn't working. There was a lot of issues with the car, and he had it on the side of the house, and my mom was always like, saca esa carcocha, we don't need that car here. And now I'm looking at your collection, and I'm like, Mom, what the F?
My mom used to call the car something else. It started with a C, though.
Oh, okay. Now, talking about your mom, you're first generation here, right?
Yeah.
So when you said, Mom, I want to be a comedian, because sometimes first generations are like, tienes que ser doctor, abogado, like you need to take us in a different direction. How was that?
She wasn't supportive, but she wasn't negative. So it was like, she wasn't like, hey, you can do it.
Yeah.
But she wasn't like, no, you're crazy for trying to do that. She was more like, whatever makes you happy. When I did get a job, I got a really good job working for the cell phone company, and I got
like a 9 to 5?
Yeah,
okay.
9 to 5. But I was doing really well. I was probably making about $5,000 a month.
Wow.
I was was doing sales and getting commissions. And keep in mind, this was in 1995.
Even
$5,000 is still a lot.
Right.
So imagine those times plus full benefits. My mom thought I made it at that point.
Right.
And so when I told her that I was going to quit my job to become a comic, that was the first time she ever voiced a real opinion. Like, what are you doing? You got full benefits.
At what point did you say, you know what, I'm going to leave this, I'm going to leave what I'm doing now, something stable, and I'm going to go for this?
You know what? I want to say about a year into, not even a year, probably a little less than a year.
What made you feel secure? Like, was there a gig in specific that you were like,
There was a couple of just potential opportunities, and I always saw, like, if somebody said, hey, I'm gonna call you, oh, I made it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a call. I made it.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, Hollywood's very flaky.
Very
flaky, very shifty. There's positive stories and there's negative ones. The negative ones, of course, were for example, when I thought that I had made it in the beginning and I didn't need a day job anymore, when I clearly did. That was one of them because the project fell through. And I didn't save up enough money to sustain myself, but I didn't want to go back to a day job, so I had to grind it out as a comic. I wound up getting evicted from my apartment. I lost all, I had to sell my furniture. I moved in with my brother for a few months, and then I moved in with my sister. And then it took about 3 years before I was able to make enough money on my own to move out.
That's incredible. During all this struggle that you faced, what's that one message that you would say to people that are trying to go after something artistic?
I don't want to sound like that old guy, you know, that whole, en mis tiempos, back in my day, you know, we didn't have this social media thing, because we did it. There was no social media. If you wanted to promote a show, you had to actually go out and talk to people. Hablar con la gente. You know, you had to make flyers, you put them on cars, people would get mad at you, because like, get that off my car. You know, you're like, well, I'm a comedian, and I'm, you know, that you had to grassroots everything. There was no freaking sending a tweet to 10,000 people. So, I mean, it's come to the point now where because of social media, because of YouTube, you know, you have more control over what's out there. So there's no excuse for people to not be able, you know, like, how do I get it? Like, how do I get my name out there? How do I get my face out there? It's free. It's social media. That's an airplane, by the way. That's right.
He lives at an airport.
You can have your name out there with a viral video. I mean, it's all in how creative you are. If you're truly creative, the eyes are there for you. They're ready. You just gotta, you know, provide something.
So I want to continue on with the cars. Before we get more mushy and emotional.
She got tired of talking to me
about your career.
So I don't want to hear about you anymore.
No.
He talks all about himself right there. Let's get back to the cars.
We all love cars, and we want to know more about your cars. I mean, I've interviewed you a couple times with your movies coming out and stuff like that.
Nothing about the cars.
No, but I had no idea that you had a car collection. So to walk in here, and thank you so much for having us here. I mean, seeing this, I'm just so amazed. And it's not just the buses. There's the Bugs, your other car collections like your Daily Drivers, the Trans Am. I mean, this whole compound is amazing. Are you thinking of adding more cars to your collection?
There's 7 missing right now, but there's only so much space. And I don't want to be one of those guys that stacks up the cars. Like I want the place to feel like it's a presentation. You know, so I mean, yeah, I could play Jenga or, you know, Tetris and get all the cars, you know, blocked up in there.
How did your love for cars start?
Well, actually, that's one of those where I think everybody loves cars. Some more than others. I think it depends on the budget.
What do you think about cars now? Because a lot of cars now, we're getting rid of naturally aspirated engines.
Too small.
Make your cars bigger, guys.
I love me some SUVs.
Yeah. What's your favorite SUV?
Escalade.
Escalade. Do you have one?
Yes.
Ah.
It's not in here. It's outside.
It's outside.
Because I use it and I wash it.
Do you use these?
Yes, I do. All of these cars are fully functional. And back in the day, I couldn't take this on the freeway. Now it passes up cars on the freeway because I put souped up engines in all of them.
We are with one of the newest additions to the family member here. Tell us about this car right here. Está un poquito sucio.
It's got bird something on it right there. Don't worry, I got it. Yeah. This is a 1965 23 window bus. They did not come like this. This is totally custom.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is totally custom.
And you purchased it like this already?
Yeah, I have a guy. I have a guy who basically I placed my order. You know, he's a good friend of mine. You know, I tell him what color I want. I tell him all the different trims and everything that I'd like to see.
And he goes out and looks for it for you?
No, he makes it. He makes the cars.
Wow.
He's got his own restoration place, and this is dropped. If you couldn't tell, it's lowered. They did not come with all this chrome back in the day. This was a very basic, simple car back then. Everything was just, you know, it was what it was. It looked more. They were more like that one right there. See, it's got a white bumper, but I like chrome. So
how much is this one?
If I had to guess, it could probably go from anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000.
Wow.
I know, right? Good thing we got security here.
Talking about collectibles, what current car now do you think will be a collectible in the future? Demon.
The Demon, the
which
Dodge
you have
Demon.
one.
Yeah, which I got one.
Horsepower on this compared to your Demon is so different, and now also cars are changing so much with generations. We're getting rid of naturally aspirated engines. We're bringing twin turbos in. You have a Tesla as well back there.
I got a little bit of everything.
Right. What do you like most to drive? Do you like the feel? What kind of engine do you like to drive?
That's right. Security. I get something from all of them. Like, for example, this one right here is more of like it's just cool, you know. It's lowered. It's chromed out. You know, you drive it, everybody's like, ooh, look at that. It's a fun car to drive. It actually has a really, really good engine in it, so you know it's not slow by any means.
What kind of engine do we have on this?
It hauls ass. It's got about 200 horsepower in there.
Okay, nice.
When you drive the Tesla's like just a bullet. You know, you gun it, and the amount of torque in that is just like it throws your neck back.
Impressive, yeah.
But there's no vroom. Now you want vroom, you get the Hellcat or the Demon. That's some vroom. Okay, you rev that car up, you don't need fiber.
No.
You're good.
Yeah. All the finishing touches that I see inside are amazing.
They did not
Groovy.
look like this back in the day. They didn't.
Yeah.
This is very much tricked out. I would not put my
Campers.
family in this. I would not put my family in this car. It's too nice.
What does your family think about your car collection? I mean, you have a kid?
They think I
wife?
could do better things with my money, but if
Right.
they didn't make it, they don't get the choice.
Real 23. Real 23.
All right, girl, this is as close as it gets to stock, to original factory settings right here. You notice the bumper's white, not chromed. The windows aren't chromed. Everything is just white. It's very just bare bones. It's as pure as it gets. The only thing that I added that the cars from back then didn't have are white wall tires. Then just because it looks pretty.
Right, it does look really
So,
nice.
yeah,
And the
this-
windows
this
come out
is-
forward.
Yeah, those are Safari windows. So it's got the little switches inside. You can push them out. There was no
No
there
AC.
was no AC. So
No
you
AC.
querías air conditioning, abre la ventana. Open up that window, man, and get that air in there.
And
it's
23. Explain that to us a little bit.
a lot of people out there that are making fake 23 window buses. So for example, the windows that you see on the top, there's people out there that will cut holes
And
add their own windows and sell them as 23 window buses, but they're not real. Because the difference is, let's say there was no windows on top, okay? It was a regular 13 window bus. It would probably go for, nice in this condition, about $40,000, $50,000.
Okay.
Add those windows, now you're jumping. Now you're in the 100 plus. That's why I got the license plate, because it is a
Real 23. Growing up, we did have Audi, Volkswagen, you know, just a thing for German cars. And I didn't know that there was trucks.
Yeah, the Germans, they get down with making cars. They
Yeah.
do. They're really good at cars and soccer. Not this year. Right over here are two things that are only for show.
Okay.
Only for show. One is this 1952 Volkswagen Bus, and the other is that treadmill. Okay, puro show, no más. The 1950 was the first year. It came out in this color. It was a work van. They've always been for,
Work,
it's
yeah.
been for work. This emblem right here is different than all the other Volkswagen buses. It has that little split in there. And because it has that little split in there, if you were to try to buy this by itself in that condition, this thing alone is worth $3,500.
Wow.
Just the emblem.
We have this beauty right here.
This is a 2015 Trans Am. It started off as a Camaro and then was converted to be made into what you see here. Back in the day, that's how Trans Ams were made. They'd take a Camaro and then
Right.
they'd pimp it out and then make a Trans Am. There's only 77 of this particular model, which is called the Bandit.
Okay.
They made it to mimic the Bandit from Smokey and the Bandit back in the day.
6.2. Tell me a little bit about the engine.
It is probably the strongest kick out of a car. I mean, it gets out from under you. And anybody that drives cars fast, you know what that means. The whole back end, well, you can basically spin out without even having to drive the car.
Wow. Man, this is just a beauty. So we saved these two for last. Tell us a little bit about these two, your tanks right here.
This is the shark tank.
Okay.
And then this one back here is all
He's
the
right
tropical fish and stuff. También bien bonito.
Like when I did your intro at the beginning, I said, you filled up Madison Square Gardens, Staples Center. I mean, right now you're on a world tour currently, and nobody really does that.
Everybody says world tour, like anytime bands and stuff like that. We're doing a world tour. We made it all the way to Downey.
Yeah.
Downey. This
Long
year, we
Beach.
might even make it to Modesto this year.
Yeah. And
World tour, ¿verdad? Yeah. No, this is legit. In a couple weeks, I'm going to Qatar, which is
Wow,
Middle
okay.
East, to go do some shows. But I mean, we're always going everywhere, everywhere. All 50 states. Been to 26 countries.
And you've accomplished, like I said, so many things. Is there anything that you still have yet to accomplish that you're hoping to do? You've been part of movies now. You're doing
102 blood sugar on my diabetic.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Is that the biggest accomplishment?
No, seriously. I mean, I think weight loss is the next goal. I've done a lot. And,
Using that treadmill.
I got to start using that treadmill.
What helps you stay so humble?
Knowing that all this can go away with one bad tweet. You can literally kill your entire body of work by saying or doing the wrong thing and it going public.
And with that, I just want to thank you so much once again for having Cultura be part of this experience and see all these cars.
You should have a hand sign.
Well, let's make one right now.
Cultura, I can't even say it right.
Ese pocho ni lo puede decir bien.
Autoculture.
Autoculture.
There you go.
Autoculture.
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 Is that going to be? Now we're going to do that from now on. But thank you so much. Thank you for having us and being part of this amazing museum.
Thank you for letting my dogs crash the show.